Boing, boing, boing. Boing, boing, boing. Oh, great sound effect. Action, let's go. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to draw a stylized dynamic grandpa and we're going to add some shades of grey. So let's go. Alright, so I'm going to start by a circle. Then I'm going to look for my center line of the face. Little ellipse on the side for the side of the head. And from the middle of that little ellipse, I can find my eyebrow line. At the base of that ellipse, I can find my nose line. And at equal distance, I can find my chin line. So on this first line, I'm going to start placing my eyebrows, making them pretty thick and a little bit messy, which can happen with old age. And go straight into the nose, triangle. A little bit of a crooked nose here. I'm not going to make a very long nose, but I am going to make it quite large. And here's the nostril and the other nostril over there. Okay, so I'm going to draw now the line using the exterior of my nostril to find the interior of my eye. I'm going to do some big eyes here, kind of awake, not too closed down like you can see on some old people. I want him to have an energetic look, even if he's an old character. Let's put a little ellipse here for the eye circles. And the other eye on the other side, which is going to be shortened, using a more elliptic shape for the iris. The line for the forehead, going out, going in for the arcade, and after it will go out for the cheek. Giving myself a little center line for the mouth here and placing the lower lip right there. And on the top, I'm gonna draw a mustache. So I won't do the upper lip because the mustache is gonna overlay the upper lip right there. I'm gonna keep the mustache a bit bushy, a bit messy, like the eyebrows. So there's a visual connection. Always try to look for visual consistency in your drawing. The cheek is going to be around here, kind of angular, kind of using angular lines here. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I continue. Here's the placement of the chin, and without going into detail in the drawing of the chin, I'm just going to add some hair like a goatee on top, which will probably transform into a beard. Yeah, let's do a beard. So I'm keeping the lines kind of angular, a bit pointy. Once again, looking for visual consistency throughout the drawing. Trying to make some interesting lines going up to the sideburns. Doing some variations, thick and thin shapes, short and long lines. And let's go right into the ear, and also going to do a bit of an angular ear here. To respect my design, a few lines going up to the hair. The forehead, bit of the back of the head here indicated. I'm going to put a hat. I'm going to put like a baseball cap on this guy to give him a bit of a young look, even if he's old. I want him to be an old, dynamic grandpa. So first I find the base of my hat going around the head, the contour. Now I'm going down in the neck, adding a few lines for the muscle neck, for the trapezes here, and the t-shirt going over the trapezes and going down around the neck. Okay, I'm going to put the cap backwards to accentuate that young look. Here's the little mechanism to change the size of the hat. And I'm going to do some hair sticking out here. Keeping the same hair design as the beard for visual continuity. Continuity, not an easy word to say. Okay, adding some contour lines for the different sections of the cap and a few stitching marks along the lines for texture purposes. It's always good to add some texture information. Okay, let's look for the width of the shoulders. He's an old guy, so we're going to make them look a little bit bony, a little bit pointy around the shoulder. And now I'm going to do a selection. I'm going to do a selection all around my drawing, the silhouette of my drawing, using the lasso tool in Photoshop. And the idea here is to take this drawing layer and add another layer underneath, on which I'm going to add a light grey tone. I'm going to add some shades of grey in this drawing, keeping the drawing rough. I'm not going to go in a clean work, so I'm also going to keep the work of shades of grey very simple. So here I'm going to deselect this section, pressing on Alt, and open my levels window and make it a little bit darker with the Ctrl L shortcut. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the mustache, the beard, the eyebrows and the hair. I'm going to do a quick selection, nothing very precise. If I really like the design, I can always do the clean work after, but for the moment I want to keep it loose and sketchy. Okay, a little bit of white this time. I want to make a different grey tone from the hat, from the hair to the skin and the t-shirt right here. Okay. Okay, these different shades of grey are enough to separate the different elements of the drawing. And now with my brush tool I can darken different areas of the face. The lip, the nose, the ear are usually a bit redder, so a bit of a darker tone. And also maybe, why not, around the eyes, to have them stick out a little bit. And I'm going to go over the cap here of the ear. I want the ear to overlay the hat a little bit, which is a bit nicer. And a little bit of shade in the neck. Usually the neck doesn't receive a lot of direct light, so it's always a good idea to shade the neck. It makes the beard come out, so it's always a good idea. I added a bit of a darker tone in the ear too. I'm just going to clean up around here. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and draw the eyes, so I'm going to add a darker tone here for the pupil, with a little light coming from the top left, right here. So I'm going to darken around the iris to make that little light pop out, and I'm going to leave it a little bit light on the lower right, so there's a feeling of the light going through the eye and coming out on the other side. Okay, so it's nice to add a little more detail around the eyes. In a portrait, the eyes should be the focal point, so always good to add more detail there. And now I can add a little bit of light on the tip of the nose, because the nose is usually a bit oily, so it catches the light. It makes the nose stand out a little bit more too. Okay, now I can thicken some lines to make the drawing come out a little bit more, especially where there's some overlapping or some areas that I want to add a little more contrast, especially around the eyes. The drawing is going to read better and overall make it look better. Okay, maybe here the back of the cap, maybe a little bit here in front, maybe the beard, the neck here, and maybe a few lines over the neck for the beard to really feel that it's a bit forward, bringing it to us and pushing back the neck. That's kind of the idea when you do a thicker line. Also the ear, to make it come a little bit forward. Push the hair and the hat back. It's a good idea to make a stronger line there. Okay, it's reading better already. I'm just going to change the placements of the top of the hat here to centralize it a little bit better. Even if this is a loose drawing, I want to make the placements right. I want to keep it accurate and easy to go ahead after and do some clean work. I want to resolve all the problems, make sure everything is in the right placements in terms of perspective and proportions. Okay, let's add a few wrinkles on the forehead here, doing some variations in the line's length. Okay, let's add a few more lines for the beard. And we're pretty good for this drawing. It's not looking too bad, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next video. So don't forget to subscribe and cut!